In the previous video, we knew about Dr. Sadao. His father's chief concern was his education. He was sent to America to learn all that could be learned of surgery and medicine. He was a famous surgeon and scientist. During the war, he could not be sent abroad with the troops because he was perfecting a discovery and he might be needed to treat the old general. Now, see what happened after that. Clouds were rising from the ocean now. The unexpected warmth means heat, of the past few days had at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. See, due to the unexpected heat of the past few days at night, there was a heavy fog from the cold waves. Sadao watched mists hide outlines of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house, wreathing around the pines. Dr. Sadao buzzed that the mist was hiding the outlines of a little island that was near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house, wreathing around means surrounding the pines, and the fog was surrounding the pines. In a few minutes, fog would be wrapped about the house too. Two means also. In a few minutes, the house would be covered by the fog. Then he would go into the room where Hannah, his wife, would be waiting for him with the two children. And then Dr. Sadao would go into the room where his wife Hannah would be waiting for him with the two children. But at this moment, the door opened and she means the wife of Dr. Sadao, looked out. A dark blue woolen houri over her kimono, and she was wearing a dark blue woolen houri means a loose outer garment worn over the kimono. Kimono is a type of Japanese dress, and she was wearing a dark blue woolen houri over her kimono. She came to him. She came to Dr. Sadao affectionately means lovingly, and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled and said nothing. He had met Hannah in America. Dr. Sadao had met Hannah in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. But Dr. Sadao had waited to fall in love with Hannah until he was sure she was Japanese. His father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race. Here race means breed. The father of Dr. Sadao would never have received Hannah as his daughter-in-law unless she had been pure in her breed. He wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hannah. Dr. Sadao used to wonder often whom he would have married if he had not met Hannah, and by what luck he had found her in the most casual way, by chance, literally, at an American professor's house. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious means keen, to do something for their few foreign students. The professor and his wife were keen to do something for their few foreign students. And the students, though bored, had accepted this kindness. Although the students felt bored, yet they had accepted this kindness. Sadao had often told Hannah how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night. The rooms were so small, the food so bad, the professor's wife so valuable. Valuable means talkative. Dr. Sadao had often told Hannah how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night because the rooms were so small, the food was so bad, and the professor's wife was so talkative. But he had gone, and there he had found Hannah, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. But Dr. Sadao had gone, and there he had found Hannah, who was a new student, and he had felt that he would love her if it were at all possible. Now he felt her hand on his arm. Now Dr. Sadao felt the hand of Hannah on his arm and was aware of the pleasure it gave him. And Dr. Sadao was aware of the pleasure it was giving to him. Even though they had been married years enough to have the two children, although they had been married many years ago and they had two children, still they were romantic in mood. For they had not married heedlessly. Heedlessly means carelessly in America. For means because they had not married carelessly in America. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan. And when his father had seen her means Hannah, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way. Although Sadao and Hannah had talked everything over beforehand, they were perfectly happy. She laid means put her cheek against his arm. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist. At this moment, Dr. Sadao and his wife saw something black come out of the mist. It was a man. He was flung up. Flung up means thrown up out of the ocean. Flung. It seemed to his feet by a breaker. Breaker means wave. It seemed that the man had been thrown to his feet by a wave. He staggered. Staggered means walked with a great difficulty. A few steps. The man walked a few steps with a great difficulty. His body outlined against the mist. His arms above his head. His arms were above his head. Then the curled mist hid him again, and then the man was hidden in the curled mist again.